5 years after a virus brought the modern world to a complete standstill, the source of the outbreak remains a contested scientific mystery. This declassified ODNI report reveals a divided consensus. Under 2 plausible hypotheses, 4 agencies lean toward natural spillover, 1 toward a lab incident, and 3 remain undecided. But in areas of broad agreement, they align. It wasn't a biological weapon, and Chinese officials had no foreknowledge. During the 2003 SARS outbreak, scientists identified the animal host within months. With COVID-19, investigators never found a definitive animal reservoir or a patient zero, creating a global void of verified information. That void was filled by viral disinformation. Films like Plandemic leveraged human psychological biases, pushing claims of deliberate population control and pharmaceutical conspiracies to millions of viewers. The noise of political shouting and internet rumors has largely buried the specific genetic sequences and institutional timelines that still lack a natural explanation. For most scientists, the leading explanation remains a natural spillover. This photograph shows the Huanan seafood wholesale market in Wuhan, where early cases clustered, and where live animals were kept in close proximity to human buyers. Historical data supports this. Roughly 75% of all emerging human diseases originate when a pathogen jumps naturally from animals. This table of known coronaviruses highlights the primary evidence for a natural origin. The top row shows rat ATG13, a bat virus that shares a 96.2% genetic match with the virus that causes COVID-19. Despite that high percentage, a small group of researchers began questioning the origin after identifying specific features in the virus's genome that are rarely seen in nature. Mapping the genome reveals a furin cleavage site, allowing the virus to be effectively primed by human enzymes. It is uniquely optimized for human ACE2 receptors. Among hundreds of known coronaviruses, SARS-CoV-2 is the only one to possess it. Researchers also identified evenly spaced type IIS endonuclease recognition sites, which are specific sequences where DNA is cut during genetic engineering. These sites act as genetic stitching points, commonly used to assemble a complete synthetic virus from smaller DNA fragments. These genomic features align with the 2018 Diffuse proposal, a grant pitch from EcoHealth Alliance and the Wuhan Institute. The Diffuse proposal explicitly described a plan to assemble bat coronaviruses from 6 fragments and artificially insert human-specific cleavage sites to test their infectivity. Because the virus's physical architecture matches a documented laboratory methodology, these features became the core of the laboratory leak hypothesis. This photograph shows researchers inside the Wuhan Institute of Virology, the facility studying these pathogens in late 2019. On September 12, 2019, the lab suddenly took its central virus sequence database offline in the middle of the night. In October 2019, athletes at the Military World Games in Wuhan, seen here, became sick with symptoms similar to COVID-19, both during the event and shortly after returning home. Intercepted internal dispatches from the Chinese Communist Party described a complex and grave situation regarding hidden biosafety dangers. The sudden removal of data and the internal warnings about hidden dangers provide the primary institutional context for the laboratory leak theory. While unusual, the genomic features of SARS-CoV-2 can theoretically occur in nature through rare viral recombination, making absolute scientific certainty difficult to achieve. This ambiguity is why the U.S. intelligence community remains officially deadlocked. As shown on the cover of the ODNI assessment, the available evidence is not considered strongly diagnostic of either hypothesis. That scientific stalemate, combined with a lack of early data sharing, led to a global geopolitical narrative war. In the U.S., the pandemic was framed as a Pearl Harbor moment. By invoking this image of a sudden attack, the government emphasized a foreign threat that required a total national response. In China, the investigation was viewed through the lens of the Boxer indemnity. This stereograph of the Boxer Rebellion represents a time when foreign powers humiliated China, a memory Beijing used to frame Western probes as violations of their sovereignty. While the physical origin of the virus might remain a cold case, the crisis proves that in the absence of scientific truth, the world defaults to an arms race of weaponized history.